start him in front of the ETC. Daniel Nagy will be the final car on the World Touring Car Championship grid. The Hungarian driving for the Hungarian team. Zoltán Zenge with 2 cars in the World Touring Car Championship, 3 in the European Touring Car Cup. And there is the other car of Aurélien Panis. Panis starting in 14th position.
Those Zenga cars, they've just struggled this year, haven't they? For whatever reason, Panis was running with the upgraded engine a couple of meetings back. Daniel Nagy has had an engine change this weekend. Let's hope he's gone to the new engine. I haven't really been able to speak to him, but yeah, that's why he had to start on the back for the first race. But yeah, out and out speed. They've considering the competitiveness of the Castrol cars, the Yas cars, you would have thought they'd move up.
Well, don't forget, Aurélien Panis had never driven a front-wheel drive car in his life before he started the championship. He's come from single-seater background. Daniel Nagy hasn't done an entire season yet in these cars. We've not yet got to the stage where he's at a track that he's raced on before. So he too is in at the deep end, and they don't have the experience to get the most out of the car. Now, hopefully, that will progress. So at the moment, you know, it's a car that's not maybe quite as up-to-date as the Castrol Hondas, and the drivers haven't got the ability yet to get, or haven't got the experience enough yet to get the pace out of it. Ahead of them, we just saw Kevin Gleeson, the American in the RC Racing Lada, and this is John Philippi, who starts in 12th position on the grid. Sebastian Loeb Racing run Citroën C-Élysée. Yann Elaché starting in 11th position. Young Frenchman in his RC Racing Lada Vesta. These are the same cars that were the yellow cars last year, run by the factory Lada operation. Race winners dominated proceedings in Moscow. I bet Elaché is disappointed not to be going to Moscow this year, where they just romped away from everybody. However, he's getting in some mileage at some pretty impressive tracks. He's never raced here at the Nordschleife, and admitted that all the years that he used to play the Nordschleife on Gran Turismo and other computer games, he really thought he knew it. Turns out, no, apparently you don't know. It's from a simulator. You find out when you go out on the track that it's a whole heap of ugly nastiness.
It's where your butt clenches and you start thinking this is going to hurt, or that you start fearing for your life in a couple of points on this circuit. So, you know, it's a real heart in your mouth job.
I'm sure, particularly with the limited amount of track time in the World Touring Car Championship, I'm sure if you only do these races, you know, you're going to be coming back here 6 times and still not confident that you know the track to its limits. Rio Michigami 10th, Esteban Guerreri 9th. This is row 5 of the grid. And of course, Guerreri started on the outside of the front row behind our poleman Nestor Girolami in the opening race. Ended up finishing in 5th position. Winner of the opening race, Ted Björk. Winner of the opening race in Monza as well. So we've got 2 two-time winners. The other one should be right there. That's Thiago Montero's spot. He should be lined up 4th on the grid, and that's where he actually is, in the pit lane. Still no wheels on the left-hand side. Now, there was a left rear on it before. They've taken it off and plugged it back into the tyre warmer, the rack on the right-hand side of the shot. Rob Huff lines up in 3rd place on the grid. So to his right and behind, abaft, landlubbers, there should be a Honda, but there's a gap. So he now is even freer to look at a gap between the front row starters. Matt, if you clear away the guy who could have been your biggest threat for the inside line, Huff's now got a better loaded hand with which to play, hasn't he?
A lot of these middle of the pack guys have got openings in front of them. So for Huff, the problem with Huff, he's got Bjorg right behind him, and if he has a start anywhere near how he did in race 1, he
won't have Bjork right behind him. He'll be right in front of him.
Well, Bjork could be 2nd or 3rd going into turn 1 and on for another victory, a double victory here, which would be wow, back in the game.
Yeah, if he, well, don't forget, 30 points for victory here, and were Björk to win this and Montero not score, then Björk would walk away from this as the points leader. And that you could never have imagined happening.
Well, we all thought it's Thiago's to lose now. He's started to settle down, can start consolidating the points and just keep on racking them up. And suddenly, it's amazing how far. And no fault of his own.
Nope.
No fault of his own.
Absolutely. Well, Norbert Michelic, the pole man, what's going through his mind? You know, talk about you've got to clear your mind of extraneous thoughts. What he absolutely must do is avoid contact with anybody in the opening lap. What he absolutely must do is avoid running off the road on the Grand Prix circuit. Why? Because on the edges of the Grand Prix circuit, there's lots of gravel traps. There's been support races here where there have been very major incidents on the Grand Prix circuit, so there'll be bits of debris around off the racing line as well. Thiago remains in the car. And the car remains on its axle stands. Don't forget, the field will go away for a warm-up lap. It's still got the brake bleeding bottle attached. This car is not ready to race yet. Duncan Laycock there, stalking out of shot.
Well, they've got time. They've got time, Martin, so.
They do have time. But, well, that left front corner needed a lot of work. Right rear corner was replaced. Norbert Michelic will lead the field away from the DHL pole position. Nicky Katzberg alongside. Rob Huff in third position. No Thiago Monteiro fourth on the grid. So a big blow to the championship leader in the main race here at the Nürburgring. Row 3 is complete with Ted Björk and Tom Chilton. Both will be greedily eyeing the gap in front of them where there is no Honda. Tom Coronel and Mehdi Bennani. Bennani scoring very strongly in race 1, will want to go forward. Esteban Guerreri and Rio Michigami. Michigami with Air Lachey, with Filippi, with Gleeson, Panis and Nudge. They were a big group together in the opening race. And how will that one sort itself out in the main event? You can see all of them jockeying for position, probably down the long Dottinger straight at the end of every lap. They're starting to clear the grid now. Engines will soon be fired up as we get ready for the main race here in Germany. Thiago Monteiro's Honda is just about ready for battle after right rear suspension. Left front corner was changed as well, or worked on, but predominantly it was a differential that had to be changed. The drive taken from the engine through the gearbox, the differential then supplies it to the wheels, and that was what took the time, and that's why there is that gap there on the grid where there is no Thiago Monteiro, who should be in fourth. So it'll be a pit lane start for him after the field has done its warm-up lap. But is there a gap where he could get in behind the two green and grey cars at the end of the World Touring Car field and before the green and grey cars at the head of the European Touring Car Cup race? I don't know.
That I doubt, Martin.
I don't know. For safety, you would want to delay those cars there in the European Touring Car Cup to allow the much quicker World Touring Car to get out in front of them. There's enough drama to be played out on this circuit without starting one of the fastest cars in the field behind the slowest.
As there is a nice tribute to Nicky Hayden there.
Yeah, all the Honda team are bearing the US flag number 69 in memory of the late Nicky Hayden, MotoGP and double World Superbike champion, who passed away tragically this week after being hit on his road bike out training. And an incident he never recovered from. Good news this week for motorcycle fans is that Valentino Rossi left hospital in Italy yesterday after being hospitalized for a couple of days. A big crash on his training ranch on motocross bikes. Our race director, Mirek Bartos, waves the green flag, and the field will head away for the final formation lap. Now, this is just around the Grand Prix circuit, so just 2.5 kilometers. They'll follow the Grand Prix circuit around behind the back of the pits and then come back onto the start-finish line. Safety car ready to go should it be needed. And dotted all the way around the track are other intervention vehicles, rescue vehicles, medical crews around this phenomenal feat of engineering in this phenomenal racetrack. Tyres are on Thiago Montero's car. And in a moment, the tyre warmers will come off. Well, let's hear from Tom Chilton on the warm-up lap.
Hi everyone, just warming up my tyres for the main race. I'm very excited about this because I had a great first race. I really thought I was on for maybe second place because I closed in my teammate quite a lot at the end, but unfortunately one of the Volvos had a big blowout with a tyre and had a big crash, and I ended up braking way too much on a fast corner to miss it because I was also worried that it could bounce back across the circuit, and I lost too much time to all the guys I worked so hard in the race to pull behind in the start of the last race, and that gave Huff enough of a chance to catch up and get a slipstream. So he hit me right at the end, so I dropped down to fourth. So I was a bit frustrated, but I'm going to work really hard in this race to catch back up.
As Tom pointed out in our interview after race one, he has the fastest lap from race one, and he's wearing the Tag Heuer watch that he got last year for being the fastest race lap of the weekend. So if he can do the same in race two, he'll need another wrist for his watches.
He'll be like Del Boy Trotter, won't he?
He properly will, won't he? Gorilla Bananas, for those of you. Does Matty have much to do with the Richard Scarry books? Wow, you need to... Oh, Gorilla Bananas, you need to get her into Richard Scarry. Lowly Worm, Huckle the Cat. Gorilla Bananas famously had watches all around both arms.
Yes, I remember. Very good, Mr. Hayden.
There you go. Okay. So, 30-point lead now, Volvo over Honda. Thiago Montero is still the championship leader, but he is in the pit lane. Norbert Mikelitz, Nicky Katzberg, Tom Chilton, Ted Björk, Mehdi Bernani, Rob Huff could all gain a lot of ground on Thiago here. If Montero gets any points at all out of this race, that will be quite remarkable. Der Honda Werkspilot Norbert Mikelitz on pole position on the right-hand side of your shot. The blue Volvo, Nicky Katzberg, will be easy to spot. Then the black Citroen of Rob Huff and a gap alongside him. Ted Björk, Tom Chilton on the next row of the grid. The World Touring Car Championship field is full. One gap on the grid with Thiago Montero in the pit lane. The European Touring Car Cup machines are coming to the grid as well, and Montero will have to fight his way through those slower cars as well. So that is a near 30-car train he's going to have to get through, get by 20 of them at least to get a point. Red lights are on, and away we go. Very slow start from Norbert Mikelitz. He doesn't move. Katzberg is going to lead from Huff. Ted Björk looking to come down the inside of Norby as well. Shocking start for the Honda driver. Now he's trying to go the long way around the outside. There could be contact, and Huff trying to go around the outside. He's still in it. Thiago Montero rejoins or joins in from the end of the field. But where is Huff? He's down to fourth place. Katzberg leads from Mikelitz, and Ted Björk inside Huff, and then Bernani and Chilton side by side, and the European Touring Car cars are right up behind the World Touring Car field. So Montero has had to join 27 cars down the order. Huff is still alongside the Volvo Ted Björk, and down into the inside he goes. Around the Dunlop hairpin, he moves up to third. Bernani still fifth behind this battle, ahead of Tom Chilton, and off has gone Ryo Michigami. So Michigami way out there in the boondocks. That's one car fewer for Thiago Montero to pass.
Huff tried to muscle his way through Katzberg, and Katzberg got his elbow out and pushed him wide, but and that cost him. He was looking for the lead, but Katzberg's held on there at the moment.
I don't know who Michigami was battling with. It might have been Yann El or around that part. Kevin Gleeson maybe in their larders, their nose to tail. So coming up the hill, the blue car is Katzberg. Then you've got Norbert Mikelitz, Huff in third place. This could be fruity.
Yeah, Katzberg just drove into me, just drove me straight off the fucking track. Not sure that's allowed, but anyway, carry on.
Yep, apologies there, as you can understand. The feelings are a little aerated. Huff up to third, though. He was hanging himself out to dry a little bit around the outside.
Yeah, I think he did, in all fairness to Katzberg, Huffy did sort of try to go for the apex when there was a little bit of Volvo still there, but...
Yeah. Well, he tried to make sure there was room for both of them, I think, Huff, but maybe didn't quite... have enough room.
Anyway, down into Hatzenbach.
Yep.
Huffy's still very much in with a chance of a win in this race. Both the Volvo and the Honda have had tyre woes. Citroen have got away scot-free so far. Huffy's going to have that in his mind, as is Katzberg, who was a little bit of walking wounded in race one, and Norby, knowing what befell his teammates.
Huff with 3 podium finishes, yet to win a race this season. And as you say, Mikelitz and Katzberg both know that their teammates have had punctures. There has not been, I probably shouldn't say this, should I? There has not been a Citroen puncture yet. Mikelitz under pressure from Huff very early in the lap.
Yeah, I think Michelitz is trying to bring his tyres in, look after them.
Down to Arnberg, and Huff is all over the back of him. And as we plunge down the hill to the foxhole, I'm not sure why Norby got such a slow start, but he is holding up Huff and Björk, and Nicky Katzberg, the race leader, is starting to open up a margin.
Well, Huffy's just set the fastest second sector of the so far of anybody, so he's definitely on a charge. He's fired up.
And somebody's gone off early in the lap. Yellow flags behind the leaders at turn 20. Couldn't even remotely guess where that is.
Great shot back from Huffy then. You can see inch perfect between those two curbs.
So yellow flags in sector 2. Well, they're long gone from there, and Michigami has come around the Grand Prix circuit and back into the pit lane. So there was undoubtedly contact to put him off on the outside as a Dunlop hairpin, because you can't make a driver error really there. We'll take a look again at the start. Does Norby move? Barely. It's almost like he's in second gear and not first. And Huff comes down the inside, the black car there in second at this stage. Then Norby comes shooting around the outside, and then the Volvo and the Citroen get together.
I think Huffy just tries to squeeze Katzberg that little bit too much. He almost had it away, but Katzberg had track advantage.
Well, Björk didn't get the lightning start of the first lap, did he?
I think he did, Martin, but the other two, Katzberg and Huffy, were up there as well. Be interesting to get a good view of Huffy. Now tries to tuck back down the inside. Katzberg's watching Michelitz. Oh, well, maybe it was Huffy's corner. Maybe Katzberg did put his nose in.
Yeah. Well, Katzberg will have said, I had the inside line. Huff was trying to get around the outside and squeeze me into the tyres. I had to go somewhere.
After how, you know, how Huffy was treated at Hungary for minimal contact.
Yep.
You can see if he'd be pretty aggrieved with that one. Oh, here comes Thiago.
Well, yeah, here comes Thiago going by Plamen Kralev in the Audi.
He's like Mario Kart, isn't he?
And Fabiano Motta also going in front of one of the Zengo Hondas. I think that might be Norbert Nudge.
They are great in-car shots here from the Eurosport team, using the Paris-Dakar technology, beaming the in-car cameras up to an AWAC plane.
Yeah, I don't think that anybody in the European Touring Car Cup, or enough of them, are quite aware that there is a very quick car coming up behind. Of course, part of the issue...
A pretty fired-up Portuguese coming through.
Yeah, and part of the issue is they're in their own race and they don't want to drive offline, because if you go offline here, you often end up in the trees.
Yeah, Huffy's all over the back of Michelitz again, Martin.
Yep, still there.
And Katzberg's not getting away. If we get, you know, we're heading up to the back half of the lap now. If Huffy can just keep in check with the Honda, he's going to have him on a good run down the straight.
And critically, then, he'll be behind Katzberg with 2 laps still to go. Now, the real problem for Huff is he's not been able to shake off Ted Bjerg either. So at the moment, you've got Katzberg leading. Right in front of us is second place Norbert Mikelitz. We ride with Huff, and behind Huffy is Ted Bjerg, and you see the blue Volvo there. Tom Chilton not quite close enough yet to Bjerg to be able to bother him, but that might happen before the end of the lap.
Yeah, now if I was Katzberg, I'd be watching the battle behind me thinking, right, I need to get away before Huffy does Michelitz, because that is a matter of time. And then he's going to be incoming. If he's close enough to get a toe off the back of that Volvo, he will just slipstream up behind him. So Katzberg almost needs to get some air between them now.
One of the things you notice so much at trackside here, particularly in this section of the Nordschleife, is how much tortured tyre squeal there is, which isn't usually a factor in most modern racing circuits. Here, the tyre is constantly being worked hard. He goes by 1:12. That's Peter Rickley, who is in the lead. He is the leader. So now Thiago Monteiro has cleared all the European Touring Car Cup cars. There are now, well, we've lost Rio Michigami, so he's now got to start working his way and try and catch the World Touring Car
He's got
field.
a lot of time to make up, Martin.
Yeah.
Tom Chilton, fastest sector 3 so far, so he's going well, mid part of the lap.
And the problem for Monteiro is that although he's fired up, he's lost a lot of time on this lap getting through the ETC cars. He was 5 seconds slower on the Grand Prix loop alone. He lost another 6 seconds to Norbert Mikelitz, his teammate, and to Nicky Katzberg on sector 2 of the track. Mikelitz closing on Katzberg and Huff closing on Norby. It's Nicky Katzberg that leads, then Norbert Mikelitz, then the black car of Rob Huff, the blue car Ted Bjerg, Tom Chilton trying to close in on him, and Chilton is easing away from Mehdi Benani, his teammate, so it's a top 4 sort of almost +1.
You've got to compliment the speed of that Honda. Huff's not being able to pull an inch on him.
Yeah, he is now, he's in the toe.
No, it's too late, Martin.
Yeah,
it's down into the Tiergarten now.
Yep. Not close enough. But now he might be close enough to make a move down into turn 1 on the Grand Prix circuit.
Look at the way that Honda goes. I mean, the only way Huffy's going to do him, it doesn't look as though he's going to be able to slipstream him. It's going to have to be an out-braking manoeuvre if he can stay close enough.
I wonder if Citroën have given all the customer cars the full power chip that they were using last year, or whether it's a sort of, that'll do, that's enough.
Norby's looking at Katzberg.
Katzberg still with the lead. Norbert Mikelitz in second, Rob Huff third, Ted Bjerg right there in fourth, Chilton not far away in fifth.
This is going to be a 4 to 5 way fight for the lead, and very, very quickly.
Being at the front is not normally the best place to be. There's Benani in sixth, Coronel in seventh, Guerreri on his own in eighth.
Okay, give you some information. A yellow flag at turn 20. Turn 20. Good job. Let's try and push on a little bit now.
I'm sure he's got no idea where turn 20 is either, and he's certainly not going to bother looking at the map taped to the door.
We just got a green flag in
yeah, it has gone green now, so that's all cleared out. Well, this is Rob Huff right up behind Norbert Mikelitz in the Tiergarten, riding the curbs, heavy braking. And he's right there. Ted Bjerg right behind him. Tom Chilton across the line was only 8 tenths behind Bjerg, so it is a 5-car battle. And there they go. Blue is Katzberg, white is Mikelitz, black is Huff, blue is Bjerg, and white is Chilton. Then Benani is broken away on the Grand Prix circuit from Tom Coronel. They were nose to tail at the end of lap 1, but Benani has freed himself from Coronel's yellow Chevrolet. The gap is about a second. There's Esteban Guerreri. This is on board with Yann Erlaché. Inside John Philippi for 9th place, or outside now.
Can he get untidy? Can he go around the outside?
Looks like he didn't manage to pull that off. From the Hatzenbach through Kittelbacher and off towards Flugplatz. A mat after the Nadjeri opening section. Again, you build up lots of speed very quickly. Big lock up there on the rear of Ted Björk's car. He drifted a little wide, but these tyres don't need any more strain putting into them with drivers making errors.
Yeah, good exit speed is very, very critical from here, is because you've got a long run downhill, down towards the Flugplatz. Go down, right-hand kink. Hard into 6th gear, over the edge. This is where the cars took off a couple of years back.
Yep. And for many, many years.
Shaves the top of the hill off now, just so the cars can go flat through there again now. On the run down to Arnberg. Big braking zone. You see there's a big gravel trap at the end of this section.
Katzberg still just about a second ahead of Mikulits and Huff. Bonani pulling away from Coronel, and there's Guerreri on his own in 8th. John Philippi still 9th, ahead of Jan Erlaché in 10th, Kevin Gleeson 11th. And Aurelien Panis and Daniel Madge not far behind them.
Huffy seems to have the legs on the Honda, but he's just not in the right places at the moment. So he can get close, but I reckon he could make good inroads to the Volvo if he could just clear Michelitz, but it's Michelitz is not making any mistakes.
No, and throwing up bits of dirt and gravel as well. And again, you really want to try and avoid that, because stones there, if you've got a tyre that's already under strain, they're not going to be doing it any favours.
It'd be nice to see Katzberg under a little bit more pressure at the front. If we could vault Michelitz, maybe you could put Katzberg under a little bit more pressure, and then we could get a scrap on our hands.
Well, does seem to close under braking, doesn't he?
Starting the downhill section now. The gradient here is, again, it's hard to pick up from the camera angles. The road really does fall away.
You can see now, can't you, just really plunging down the hillside.
Heading down to the lowest point of the circuit.
And Katzberg's really starting to pull away now. He's getting on for nearly 2 seconds in front of Norbert Mikulits as we get down to the bridge at Adenau.
That's where Montero went off in the race 1. Now we start the uphill climb.
Ted Björk in 4th place. That's the podium battle in front.
You can hear the engine straining with the gradient change up to Bergwerk. Through the kink, 90-degree right. Coming up before the big, long, fast, never-ending climb.
Again here, speed's really extreme. Even in a road car, you can be touching 160, 170 miles an hour.
I say these in-car shops, fantastic. Beamed up to an AWAC plane above, which are sending us all the images back actually as they're happening. Technology Eurosport developed on the Paris-Dakar, and we can enjoy right here at the ring.
Katzberg's gap now out to around 2.5 seconds, and at some stage he's going to be able, when he starts the final lap, to think about nursing the tyres just a fraction.
Well, one person we shouldn't forget, Martin, is Björk.
Yep.
He's looming there. He's waiting for something to kick off, and so he can pounce.
Now the question is, what happened with Thiago Montero's car? What happened with Nesta Girolami's car? What did they do differently? What did their tyres find that the other 4 cars that were similar to theirs didn't find? Why did they have punctures, and why didn't the other Volvos and the other Hondas? And whatever that is that trouble going to come and find these Volvos and Hondas? Looking back from Norbert Mikulits at Rob Huff. One thing we haven't ever had around here is a puncture on a Citroen. Now, whether their suspension is better or worse, don't know, but it just hasn't happened yet.
Not in a race, Martin, but we did have a delamination of the tread in free practice on Huffy's car.
Yeah, that's true, that's true.
So they're not 100% bulletproof. Katzberg's obviously got the hammer down now. He's fastest sector 3 of the race, so he's obviously trying to make that gap.
3 cars coming through the trees together. That's John Philippi, Jan Erlaché and Kevin Gleeson. You could see Aurelien Panis further back still Daniel Madge, and further back again was Thiago Montero. And he's got to get by Naj and Panis and Kevin Gleeson and El Ashay to get a point. You can't fault his trying.
Yeah, Huffy does look racy, he just can't seem to find a way past the Honda at the moment.
Yep. Nicky Katzberg has just set the fastest sector 3 of the race, 2 minutes 4.7, a full second ahead of Mikulits and Huff. And of course, Huff speed governed by Norby. And Chilton and Björk are now there as well, and Bonani is coming dangerously close too.
One of the problems Huff's got is there's no real massive braking zones, so it's all fast sweeping corners. So,
yeah.
Right, if he can get a real good run through here.
And Huff's looking in his mirrors because Björk is putting on the steam now. He's really shoveling coal to make sure he's close enough as they come out onto Dottingerhöhe. This is Ted Björk's view. He is close enough to get a tow off both cars in front. So Huff will close up, but then Björk will tow up behind him as well.
Yeah, it's going to be the second half of the straight.
And look how far ahead Katzberg is. He's going to be 4 or 5 seconds in front of the line. I'm sensing that Norby is starting to take things a little bit more gently. Maybe he's feeling a bit of pressure as well.
That Honda's punching through the air, though. I mean, I'm amazed the Citroen can't put an inch on it. They always say the Citroen has got stronger lower down, but no, they're into the Tiergarten. And he's under pressure, but...
He's going to have to try and pass him out of the Tiergarten onto the Grand Prix circuit. He was this close last lap. Huffen couldn't get by. And now he's got the added drama that Ted Björk is right in the mix.
Yeah, he's going to get done by the Volvo if he's not careful.
Björk has shaken off Chilton, so Björk is free to attack. Katzberg 3.6 ahead, and Norby is still in second. And Huffy having to defend hard against Ted Björk. Then Tom Chilton, Mehdi Bonani in the background. Well, can Björk find a way by on the Grand Prix circuit? Katzberg's gone unless he has a puncture. Fastest race lap.
Fastest front sector of the whole race to Thiago Monteiro that last lap.
Monteiro an 8-minute 51.5 as he crosses the line. The leader did an 8-minute 45.6. So Thiago on a clear lap, 7 seconds slower. Here's Jan El Ashay selling John Philippi the dummy. Which way is he going? Having to go the long way round. And he got by him for 9th position. He knows how to race, Jan El Ashay, no question at all. And dust being kicked up as Huff and Björk and Chilton dice with that man, Norbert Mikulits, in the battle for second.
Okay, Martin, this is the danger lap, though. This is the tyre killer.
Yep.
So, and they're all going to have that in the back of their mind. Katzberg's vaulted, so he's going to sit with the space he's got.
Oh, and Kevin Gleeson runs out of road. Luckily, there was a bit of tarmac there, but just got in too quick into those downhill S's. Jan El Ashay now starting the climb back up the hill on the Grand Prix circuit. And already out into the Hatzenbach is our race leader, Nicky Katzberg. Norbert Mikulits has shaken off Rob Huff a little, so it's Huff, Björk, Chilton. That's 3rd, 4th, 5th. And of course, Chilton thinks that they all owe him 3rd place out of race 1. Now, is Norby suddenly starting to get the hammer down?
Yeah, Norby's responded, definitely, hasn't he?
Well, the body English in the Honda looks very different, doesn't it? Suddenly, he's romping over the curbs and charging away.
Or is that because Huffy's sort of hurt his tyres by following in close proximity to the Honda for so long?
Nervous times on the Nordschleife. Final lap of the final race of the World Touring Car Championship weekend here. Tom Chilton there in 5th position, chasing the Volvo of Ted Björk. And Björk starting to lose ground a little to Rob Huff. Great shot through the trees. So many great shots on this circuit. So many archetypal Nürburgring shots that could be nowhere else.
Squirming over the crest there.
Yeah, Chilton's didn't land 4 square there, did it?
Down into Bergwerk before the run down the steep drop into the foxhole. Cars going into massive compression. Drivers pinned in the bottom of their seats in the bottom of this section.
This is where it's like bobsledding for a moment or two. The lateral G is no longer lateral, it just goes straight down through the body.
It's how on earth they ever cut this track through the middle of a forest without getting lost in the first place.
Lots of manpower. Well, they did. That's why it's not circular. Lots and lots of manpower.
They were trying to build an oval.
Yeah, they just kept getting stuck with trees and mountains. Well, let's hear from our race leader.
Okay, same sector 2 as Michelis. That's good.
Well, what they're doing now is they're pacing him against what's behind, which he can't judge, but they're looking at him going, okay, that's good. You don't need to go any faster, was the unspoken message there, wasn't it?
Yeah. Don't put the car, the tyre, anything under more strain than it needs to be. Let's get this baby home.
Yeah, it's been as stressed as it needs to be. He's got a comfortable margin. That's got to be 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds as he drops down the hill. And Michelis with Huff to worry about. Norby is just thinking now, hang on to second place, hang on to these tyres, somehow keep them alive. And a great view there. Look at how ordered the campsites are here.
Down the bottom, lowest point of the circuit in Exmouth.
Sabine Schmidt's family own the little cafe and guest house there. They've opened a big new holiday resort as well, just down the road. Sabine raced here a couple of years ago, didn't she, in the Chevrolets for the Munich Motorsport team.
Rounding Bergwerk.
Continuing to chase Norbert Michelis, the first of the 3 cars here. Rob Huff not close enough. Huffy, I think you're right, Matt. I think he's frustrated that he can't stay with Norby. Norby's found another gear almost on this lap, hasn't he?
Yeah, Norby's got the hammer down. Montero, his teammate, up to 14th now, but still a long way out the points.
Oh, Ted Bjerg is threatening.
It's too tight.
Yeah.
But back out of it.
Huff and Bjerg in the slipstream of Michelis have both set their personal best sector 3s of the race.
I hope he's looking vulnerable now before they get down to dotting the Her. If Bjerg can stay with him, as you say, get the double toe.
Yeah. I mean, how many times this weekend have we heard people say, we know the Volvos are strong on the straights? Dropping down into the carousel.
Michelis isn't getting away now. He's come back.
Yeah.
It's almost like he tried to make a break for it.
Well, a couple of big braking areas, aren't they, before you get to the carousel? Look how much Guerreri has closed on Coronel. They were 2.5 seconds apart at the line, and that may not be quite the gap any longer.
Yeah, these two aren't teammates, but they try and work as teammates. Yeah. But there is a rivalry, an inter-Chevy team rivalry of Campos and Raul, so they're going to want to try and beat each other, but not fall out with each other in the process.
No, exactly. They're buddies, and, you know, Coronel is wise enough to know that 2 heads together are better than 1. But in the race, they're racing drivers, and it's about them and their car, not about the guy who might be in a similar machine.
Huffy's turned the tables again, so he's managed to break away from Bjerg, and he's...
Isn't it? Oh, big slide from Katzberg. Do not do that. Isn't it interesting the way the different cars perform differently on certain aspects of the track? You know, Norby gets away, the Volvo's all over Huff now. Huff's cleared off from the Volvo and has caught Norby back up. And it's not because he knows this bit of the track better, but his car seems to be working for some reason a little better.
Well, the Volvos were trying to wind wing out of the car, weren't they, to get that straight line. They knew that was going to be one of the big advantages, and maybe that's just making them a little bit squirrely and bit of a handful through the tight and twisty stuff.
It's properly hang on here, isn't it? Super high speed, twisty, the road constantly moving. You know, there's no Mulsanne straight here where you drop it into top and sit there for 60 seconds getting your bearings. Dotting a Her maybe, but even so. Out of the mini carousel, last lap, we're effectively about 4 corners from home. Another 2 miles to go, and the longest, fastest part of the track in terms of straight line speed.
Huffy's close, but he's no closer than he was on the previous lap. I think he's going to struggle, but he could be vulnerable to Bjerg in the Volvo behind him.
Katzberg is running clear in this one. Nicky Katzberg was second in the standings before race 1. One podium finish for the Dutchman so far this season. He's been consistent, but not in the top three. But look at the margin he's got. He's away and clear. Daniel Nudge has had a big shunt.
That is a big shunt, isn't
and
it?
that is in the closing part of the lap. Katzberg is already into Tiergarten. Huff is not close enough. He will not get to Norbert Mikelitz. And Ted Bjerg will not get to Rob Huff either. Katzberg is going to win this. Mikelitz will be... Oh, Willie Huff closes so much under braking. But the checkered flag is out. And it is victory
Really
for the
well
first
done.
time for Nicky
The balance was
Katzberg.
fantastic. Well done, guys. Well done.
Norbert Mikelitz holds on to second, Huff on the podium third, victory and fourth for Ted Bjerg here today, fifth for Tom Chilton ahead of Mehdi Benani, and Coronel ahead of Guerreri by 0.3 of a second, Jan Erlaché in ninth, John Philippi in 10th, Kevin Gleeson 11th, no points for Thiago Monteiro despite all his efforts. Aurelian Panis crosses the line in 12th position, and Thiago Monteiro, it'll be unlucky 13 for him. You can't fault the determination of the team and the efforts of Thiago Monteiro, but in the end it's a 0-0. Daniel Nudge, a big accident right on the exit of the Stefan Beloff S.
I'm afraid to say that looks like another puncher, Martin.
Yes, it does, I'm afraid. That's not one way you would commonly lose a car unless he really twonks the curb on the inside. Well, some very happy Volvo boys. 2 race wins here for Polestar Cyan Racing. And Nicky Katzberg, well, he's a bit of a Nordschleife specialist, particularly in this field. He's done a lot of racing here, a lot of 24-hour races. He's got the 24-hour race still to come this weekend. So this is the first, or the second of his races, with an awful lot more mileage still to come. But he claims victory in the main race here in Germany. Smiling face of Jaap van Lagen, fellow Dutchman, and they were at one stage teammates at Lada. Jaap driving a BMW, as is Nicky in the 24-hour race. Alex Legui down there with him. Richard Rogers, incidentally, holding the hats, the FIA media delegate, the man responsible for all the press releases and the news from the World Touring Car Championship.
Nicky Katzberg, congratulations. What a fantastic race. You are the winner of our main race here at the Nürburgring.
Yeah, fantastic. That was an amazing feeling, doing 3 laps out in front. I saw a lot of fans. I saw some Dutch flags, and Norby was struggling to keep up. So it was a really good race for us. We really got the setup right. After race 1, we got a little tryout, and for race 2, we got it really good. So super happy.
How worried were you about potential tyre issues around, or did you feel pretty confident throughout?
No, I felt pretty confident. We took some measurements for race 1, and in race 1 we had no issues. So for race 2 we were very conservative and still managed to pull a gap. So incredibly happy, and I also think Thiago didn't score much points. So for us it's a fantastic weekend.
Second career win for Nicky Katzberg, victorious for Lada in Moscow last season. In fact, he had 2 podiums, didn't he? He was first and second in the 2 races. And Nicky Katzberg delighted with that result. And as he said, they were relatively happy, but then I'm sure they were relatively confident going into race 1. And Nestor Girolami, unfortunately, the man who found out that it wasn't quite.
And Martin, as we said before, if you're going to win one race all year, this is one of the ones you want to win.
Yeah.
If you want to get one fastest lap all year, this is the one. This is the circuit you want. You get the bragging rights in the paddock.
And he gets the Tag Heuer for the Tag Heuer Fast Lap. He also gets 30 points for victory. Norbert Mikelitz in second, and as he said, good news for them is that there are no points for Thiago Monteiro, and that has cost the Portuguese the championship lead. Now, quite how the points work out, I'm not going to try adding up because I will undoubtedly be wrong. But Thiago will remain on 123. Nicky was on 85 before the weekend, so those 30 points alone will put him on 115, plus the points he got in race 1. And of course, Ted Björk, victorious in race 1 and 4th in race 2. The podium awaits our race winners as the World Touring Car Championship weekend finishes here with Nicky Katsberg, the new championship leader, ahead of Thiago Monteiro. Ted Björk in 3rd place, and what a very different look the championship now has. Top 6 covered by just 25 points. And a 0-0 for Monteiro shows that he was right to be concerned that his lead of over 30 points was not a big one. And in the World Touring Car Trophy, Rob Huff now has a single-point advantage over Tom Chilton, with Mehdi Benani within 5 points of the leader. Esteban Guerreri not far away either. So that is all very entertaining after our Nürburgring race weekend. Well, hopefully Nesta Girolami will not be feeling the effects of his crash for very long. It was a big high-speed shunt. And Daniel Nagy also, that was quite a quick accident as well he had. And you could see it was an unusual one because he went off before the gravel trap that's there for a driver error. So again, it looks as though Daniel Nagy may well have suffered a puncture on his Zengo Honda.
Paul Ridgway just in shot there, talking to Jaap van Lagen. Seems to be that Katsberg's fortune has turned around the last 2 races, which is coincides with Ridgway's arrival at the Volvo squad, so the Volvo Polestar squad. He is very experienced engineer and
well, ran his own team in the World Championship for a while, didn't he? GR Asia with the Hondas. So yeah, and you know, and that's what you do when you're a group like Volvo, is you start bringing in, you know, the knowledge and the experience and the talent.
Ridgway's very good at driver optimization. The car can work well, but he's very good, and he seems to have made the difference to Nicky. You know, he's done. Suddenly, Nicky was struggling against his 2 teammates. Not struggling, but just not going his way, and then suddenly, you've got to say he's one of the main guys. Ronnie Hartfeld just at the back, a big smile on his face.
Yep, he's the engineering director at Polestar Cyan Racing, and of course formerly ran the operations for RML Chevrolet. Rob Huff, 3rd place in the main race, and indeed 3rd place in both races, and that's allowed him to move up nicely in the standings. Norbert Mikulits, 2nd position. I think he may consider those to be much needed points. And our main race winner,
already on the podium,
Nicky Katsberg.
Our WTCC trophy winner is Rob Huff. And representing our winning manufacturer, is Frederick Rallian from Polestar Cyan Racing.
Frederick keeping us waiting there for a moment or two.
And now the national anthem for our winning driver.
Dutch anthem for our winning driver. Sort of anticipating the Swedish anthem. There we go.
Presenting our trophy to Rob Huff is the head of organisation at 24 Hour of Nürburgring, is Mirko Hansen.
Let's have a quick word with them about finding anthems and getting flags hoisted properly.
Chairman for Sport ADAC, Volker Honing, will present our second place driver trophy to Norbe Miklitz.
Well, Norby not exactly looking jubilant. I think he felt
And
that might be an important win that got away from him.
Yeah, Martin, he lost it all at the start, but you could see his body language. He's looking pretty dejected there, but like Katzberg, Michlitz, it is suddenly trying to get back in the game against your teammates. So, and he's done just that. So a big haul of points.
Will also present the WTCC trophy to our trophy winner.
Mixed emotions for both of them, I guess.
Yeah. The championship has a very different look after these two races in Germany. And so does the World Touring Car Trophy, the independent standings. Tom Chilton came here with the lead, and now Rob Huff has overhauled him. Just 1 point in it, though. And I'm afraid that our Yokohama Motorsport colleagues may be in for some fairly stiff talking tos from some of the drivers.
If they don't know how to swear in Portuguese, they'll soon be finding out how, I'm sure.
Yeah, and Huffy was fairly unstinting in his thoughts about where we need to go with the tyre. And it is always a difficult balance because drivers want performance. If you build a tyre that can survive a touring car with 80 kilos of success ballast on 45-degree temperatures around the Nordschleife, everywhere else it's going to be solid concrete.
Yeah, the problem is, Martin, they're having to build a tyre with a massive temperature range on it.
Yeah.
You know, to do the way they slow these cars down, they throw an extra 80 kilos into them, and it has a massive bearing on what Yokohama have to cater for all the cars. You know, it's very, very difficult. Dunlop had a similar thing with in British touring cars, you know, with but they have to cope with rear-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, heavy weights as well. Yeah. They came up with a bigger, stronger tyre, and maybe that's what Yokohama need to look at going forward. Not this year, but you know, planning ahead for the future of the championship.
Yeah. But the problem is that the regulations demand one tyre that remains unchanged for a period. And so whether you want to or not, Yokohama, actually, I'm not sure that you're allowed to. Well, here's our Yokohama Trophy podium. Rob Huff, Tom Chilton, Mehdi Benani, they were the top three. Huffy finished third overall, Chile fifth, and Benani in sixth position. Just here, an Audi R8 blasting away from the line below as he's off to do some donut demos. And Volvo now easing to a 40-point lead over Honda.
Big swing on the Hondas for that.
Major advantage because they were 12 points in front coming in here.
Yeah, and Honda had sort of put them under pressure the last couple of meetings. Honda were eating into the Volvo lead, and suddenly, bang, it's really swung back in Volvo's favour, hasn't it?
Well, Volvo next, as all of us go to Villarreal in Portugal, and that was a big weekend for Tiago Monteiro last year, and boy does he need one this year.
Yeah, good weekend for Huffy, obviously. Two podiums, now seeing podium for the first race.
Yep.
So Huffy's
third place in race one. Mehdi Benani was in second place in race one.
Top step belonging to Ted Bjorg. Another Volvo.
Yep. So Ted Bjork joins Tiago Monteiro as being a two-time race winner this season.
And our winning manufacturer, Polestar Cyan Racing.
Lots of, what happened to you then, and what happened there then, and how come you ended up going behind me?
It's Frederick Marlin.
So Frederick back on the podium, keeping us waiting even longer this time.
Now the national anthem.
Who are you? Now, Swedish anthem for our winning driver.
And now.
And for our winning manufacturer. So let's hope they can get the CD queued up again. Oh, no, just one. Catch all.
We'll be presenting our third position trophy to Rob Huff.
So lots of German efficiency going on here then. Rob Huff takes the second of his third place trophies. Mehdi back on the podium again.
Yeah, Huffy with 3 glass trophies in his bag on the way home. Better be careful, doesn't it? With a big bag full of shrapnel by the time he gets back.
And our opening race winner, Ted Björk, his second victory of the season, won the first race of the year. Beg your pardon, he was second in the first race of the year, so he won in the main race in Monza.
Trophy to Mehdi Banani.
So Björk victorious for the second time. Thiago Montero winning in Hungary and
Yokohama Motorsport Managing
Marrakesh.
Director Naoko Ando will present the winning manufacturer's trophy to Mehdi Banani.
To Mehdi Banani.
Well,
close.
To Polestar,
yeah. It's all going to hell in a handcart, Al.
We know what you meant, Al.
Yeah, we do.
Boys, please come together for your official photograph.
Yeah.
Hope he's going to be legless by the time he gets off that podium. He's been knocking that champagne back.
I do. You only need to breathe in near him and you'll be drunk. It was hot work, though. I mean, you know, we make light of how warm it is, but in those cars it is very, very hot indeed. So he does need a bit of hydration, but that champagne will go straight to his head. And that's it then from the races in Germany. Next time out, Villarreal in Portugal. We'll see you there.